Hey, I'm Karin Wolok, and this is Rubbing Elbows. This is my co-host, who also happens to be my brother, Yariv Wolok. And then we also have Aaron Draper in the house. Yay, Aaron.
Good evening.
So this is our first ever show, so I'm really excited that Aaron agreed to do this. Because I am a big fan of his and everything that he does. And I think he's a really good example of the rubbing elbows idea of the things that I love. So Aaron's career, which I'm probably going to do it no justice, but I guess like self-proclaimed percussionist. But, he's worked with a lot of like very well-known talent, like legendary people from around the world, including Jill Scott and Adele and Rihanna and Eminem and The Roots and Erykah Badu and Dr. Dre and Snoop. Am I doing this justice? John Mayer.
Adele.
We're just gonna name drop
Eminem, whoever else, The Roots, Tyler Perry. The list goes. I forgot. So it's been so long. I forgot how many people it is now.
You do have to actually update your Instagram bio because there's a lot of names that aren't on there. I'm like, I don't know how old it is, but it needs to be updated, Aaron.
It does. They only give you a certain amount you can put in there. So
you can literally
I just swap it out for somebody new every time.
You have the character limit on it.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to start taking all the syllables out of people's names.
Yeah, just C D R.
One for each letter.
That's really funny. But yeah, I mean, I would say that you have a very accomplished career as a professional musician, which is pretty awesome. So this show specifically is about kind of like the importance of, connections and friendships and networks and like kind of how those things function and how they kind of like lead to career growth and success.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in a lot of probably interviews that you've done in the past, they usually start from like, hey, how did you start? But I don't want to start there. I want to actually go the opposite way.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what is the most recent thing that you've endeavored in that you had going on for
you? The most recent thing. Well, I did a tribute recently, like a Stevie Wonder tribute. And I did BT. I did the Soul Train Awards last year. That's like more recent. And other than that, nothing really. I've been recording a lot from the house, from home. Like, a lot of recording, for people.
By doing, what did you do live there?
Or at
the events,
the tribute?
Yeah.
The Stevie Wonder tribute. It was with my guy, who plays saxophone for. He played saxophone for Prince at one point. It was a good tribute. And then, like I said, Soul Train Awards I'm house band for that every year. BT Awards, all that kind of stuff. So
that's crazy. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I'm just doing stuff. Like all the other musicians are probably like, oh my God, how do you even get there? So I'm curious, how did you get there? Like, how did you get to the what was the call that you got that was like the Stevie Wonder tribute or like the Soul Train Awards? Like, who called you for that?
For me, of course, my era of coming up was 2001, and that was like the neo soul, Black Lily era. So I was already part of that, and then being a part of the Roots, doing stuff with the Roots back then. You network. I did a lot of networking. So,
how did you first meet the guys from the Roots, like Questlove
and? Through Rich Nichols. Rich Nichols, rest in peace. He introduced me to him.
How'd you meet Rich?
Rich was the manager of his wife's group, the Jazzy Fat Nasty, and I was the drummer. I auditioned. They liked me.
How did you meet them?
How did I meet them? Through an email that one of my friends signed me up for. This is like 2001. I just got out of high school. My friend hit me up, but hey, you got to go to this audition. Put your name in for assistant, signed you up. I went, and that's when everything started.
So you connected from a friend to a friend to
Mhm.
Rich to the Roots to then what?
The Roots to
This
man, because that Roots era, that 2001 to about 2003 or 4 era, I spent a lot of time with. That was like me playing with the Jazzy Fat Nasties, Jaguar. I was playing with Bilal at one point for a long time, and around that time then too. And eventually 2004 led it to me doing 2001. Gotta go back. 2001 Jay-Z Unplugged happened. I ended up doing that, and then I think that might kind of think, was that 2000 or 2001? I know it came out November 2001. They coming out there, but that led it to all these other things, and then I started playing for Bilal, then Jaguar. And 2004 around the time we did the Dave Chappelle Block Party.
How did you get into the Dave Chappelle Block Party?
Because I was like like I said, I'm definitely a Mary's young boy, so they would call me to just come in and play drums sometimes or percussion. Huh?
Who was? Oh, was it Amir Questlove that called you?
Questlove, yeah, Questlove.
Okay.
Rich would be like, Richard Nichols would hit me like, Amir, what you come do? He wants you to play the drums on the roof scene at the end, which I did not play drums at the end, which I was supposed to be playing, but it was going to just be me up there by myself. But now looking back on it, I wish I would have did it. But you do see me all through the movie though. But anyway, I did that, and that I actually was the first time I actually played with Jill Scott. I wasn't playing for her at first. A guy named Pablo Batista actually ended up playing for her, and that was my, I guess to me, kind of my audition. Then 2004, my boy took over, Adam Blackstone. And we were in the middle of a tour with Jaguar. He was like, y'all ready to come do Jill Scott? We did Jill Scott tour? Absolutely. Me and Darryl Robinson did it. We did it. We went and left. 2005, we started rehearsing. And I think my career kind of even just took off a little bit more after that, because that's when I started touring. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I toured, but it wasn't like a long tour. So I toured with Jill. And that ended up being like almost a 10-year thing, playing with Jill Scott, to 2012. The first tour we did was called the Sugarwater Festival. And that was with Queen Latifah, Floetry, Queen Latifah, Erykah Badu, and Jill Scott. And it was 2005. It was crazy.
How old were you at the time when you were doing all this?
2005? Woo! About 24, 25, maybe around time.
How did you handle those nerves? Because it sounds like you kind of just jumped into it, going from not much experience to.
It's funny, man. Like, by then, my nerves was I was good by then. Just hanging around the Roots, you got to, they be around everybody, so you learn to be chill, So I, my nerves was, I wanted to play, so I really wasn't scared. Like, it was something we do already, just on a bigger scale,
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah, that was a great story.
I'm curious about and I actually have my own assumptions of what I think it is, aside from your talent. There's a lot of very talented musicians out there, right? What do you think it is with you and your relationship with these people that they kind of embraced you and brought you in and, plugged you into all this stuff?
It's funny. I mean, I was, I was about my business. I played good music. I felt like, those two things right there just are the top two things that some people just don't know. You got to be, and people got to want to work with you. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm always great to work with. You know what I mean? I'm going to try to give you what you want to the best of my abilities. Or it's a lot of artists already researched me. Like John Mayer researched me. I'm going skipping ahead. John Mayer researched me when they first called me. Like I heard, him and the drummer, my boy Aaron Sterling. He said they was watching YouTube videos of me. And I was like, of me? In high school watching YouTube videos. So, a lot of people, like I said, they know of me. And then I was highly recommended from Questlove. So that's how that kind of happened. So,
That's interesting. I was sure that the John Mayer thing might have happened through the Chappelle tie-ins or something like that. Yeah, I guess you've made such a name for yourself where now people are seeking you out.
Same thing with Rihanna. Rihanna saw me on Eminem And she told the manager, like, I want to use them. So, I ended up eventually playing for Rihanna. We did a Eminem Rihanna Monster Tour. And then after the Eminem Rihanna Monster Tour, I started playing with Rihanna. That was 2014, about 2015. And then that ended up into playing for Adele around the time, 2015, the end of 2015. That, of course, the rest is history with that.
Did you ever imagine that your career was going to develop and like snowball? Because I think it's like, that's what it is. It's a snowball. Like you snowballed,
I actually did. I know I wanted to play and travel and tour music. It was a video I watched when I was younger. My big brother, Brian Moore, and he was the drummer for Genuine and Lee at the time. And it was a VHS tape.
Wow.
A lot of kids when they know about that.
Yeah, right.
It was a VHS tape I used to watch. It was back in '97 in high school, and that tape changed my life. I was like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. And not necessarily knowing what I had to do to get there, but I just tried to be the best. Do the best at everything I could do when I was playing.
It's actually really interesting you say that, because my sister and I talk about this a lot now. It's like you just focus on the process, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to be
putting the work in.
Yeah, I just want to play drums, right? Like I want to make music. You just keep doing that over and over again. You get better and better, and then all of a sudden, the opportunities kind of open up for you. Like John Mayer was doing research on you, right? Like these people were, they themselves are probably that way. They're just like, well, I want a drummer, right? So they start doing the homework. Right. And they find somebody who's just doing that.
Or a great recommendation from an amazing musician. You know what I mean? It's so many. That's why it counts to have a lot of relationships with a lot of people, because, people remember you. Like a lot of gigs, especially when I do gigs, I do gigs and when I play them, I do it to make a mark. So people remember me like, oh man, that was so great. You know what I mean?
Can you dig into that a little bit? Actually, you said like make a mark. Like what do you think in your head when you're like, I want to make a mark? Or
leave an impression of my playing, trying to respect their music, in the sense of how like maybe they recorded it or just even the sense of the feeling of how their music were. For example, like I did a Christmas Divas a long time ago. Christmas Divas, it's probably 2015, a little bit after the Adele tour, and Shaka Khan and all of them was on there. And we did a little bit. Ain't Nobody. We did like a Shaka Khan medley. So I know that stuff. So I was just trying to play like those records with live feel with my feeling, but not taken away. So you get the feeling of whatever. Or even a perfect example. Soul Train Awards. I did. We did a tribute for Terry Lewis and Jimmy Jam. And we performed with The Time, and a lot of this stuff is like heavy funk. It was a certain pattern in the song that in one of the songs, I want to say Jungle Love. It's like a cowbell one of the songs that I was playing it, and Jerome looked at me like, because I was playing that was in the record, so I'm like, I feel like you recognize that I played whatever that was from the record, like, you know what I mean? So ultimately, it's a good thing, because it's like you grew up with, I grew up with that music, so I know that music. So, and it comes out of me when I'm playing, that comes across when I'm playing for them. So, it doesn't sound like a newbie who doesn't know,
right.
That music. You know what I'm saying? It's different when you like grow up with the music, because you literally know it's a part of you. So to perform it, it's like, oh man, yeah, I know this. Like even with Erykah Badu, when I play for Erykah, she's another artist I play for. When I first played, we had like when I first started, she said, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No." It's like, this is like home. This is Philadelphia, basically. Your music anyway, So, that's what I say when I like, you leave your mark, and and it's how you are off the instrument too. Of course, that's the other thing. How you are off of the instrument and around people. You know what I mean? How you act and conduct yourself, you know what I mean? And, I always try to conduct myself in, just in a great way, have fun and just, go about my business. Don't do nothing that's going to jeopardize my work or, do something that's going to,
it's interesting. Yeah. I think that like, and I'm sure you've thought about this before, but, like you in your career progression, like, you know, you're like, I love drumming. This is what I do, percussion, like whatever. So this is what you've done. And this is where you've taken your career from that. Right. And like a lot of people who like have regular jobs don't go through this experience where they're like, I love doing this and this is what I'm going to do forever. And like, they don't get there. They're like, okay, well now you have to figure out a job. And you're like, all right, I'm going to get a job doing this thing at some place. You know?
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think, the key is doing what you love. You can never go wrong with doing what you love. It's a sacrifice, and you have to put in the work, especially when it's something from the muscle. It's not like a 9 to 5 job. You know, if it's something you're building, you have to put that groundwork in so it can build and go to the next whatever it's going to turn into. You know.
So that actually it brings up an interesting question. So you have all these names and all these reputations you've already worked with. Do you have like, oh, well, what's next? Like, do you kind of like think about that? Does that keep you motivated to like, is it like the bigger artist? Is it just the next music? Like, what keeps you searching?
That's a good question.
That is a good question. Having that, what is next? Because John Mayer was a surprise to me. I didn't expect that. I got a call from Questlove, and he was like, "Hey, man, what you got going on? You Mayer asked about you." And I was just first. He said Mayer, and I was just like, Mayer, like John Mayer asked about me. It's like I'm doing nothing. What's this? You know, it's whatever. You know. So I definitely am often surprised. You know, I'm never worried though, because you know, when you do good work, your work speaks for itself, and you'll always, you know, have something. So that's always been like I said, I'll be wondering, but you know, I'm like, that's funny you said that, because it was a question asked after Adele. Was like, so after Adele, what next? And I was like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. You know what I mean? But also knowing I get calls to come fill in sometimes with the roots and stuff. And so, you know, it's never no lack anywhere, you know? So.
Yeah. It's like, again, it's like going back, just the process, right? You're just like, oh, I'm just playing music.
Mm-hmm. And then there's opportunities just arise and come surprising him because people are stalking him out online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's kind of true though. I mean, Karin, she mentioned like office jobs, right? Like I work remotely, but I work an office job, right? But like the more I realize, like if I focus on, like, for instance, like I do design, right? Design and product, right? So the more I focus on the stuff that I actually enjoy at my job, the more the doors actually open up. The more I focus on the things that like people tell me to do, like, oh, go do some like paperwork, it doesn't lead anywhere. And it's like, I feel like that's actually the most relatable thing about you. Like your artistry is what opens the doors for you. And the more you focus on it, the more, you know.
Yeah. Somebody's going to catch on and see it like, oh, okay. Hey, you do this. Would you be able to do this now? Boom. You know what I mean? It opens the door for something else. And, you know, they love what you did. Now they're telling somebody else about it. Like, it's like a domino effect, you know?
I make the comparison to something that I probably shouldn't, but when I talk about like, you know, how good you are at the thing you love doing, is I talk about somebody who like cleans houses. I like, if you get somebody who like really loves cleaning, they are going to kick butt cleaning that house. Like if you're like, you have somebody coming into your house and they're like, you have one guy that like, I can clean. And then you have another person coming in that's like, I love cleaning. Like it makes me feel so good. That's what I was born to do.
It's just being the best at what you do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and it's always somebody better, but people just want
different.
Or different, yeah. It's just like, you know,
how do you
get yourself in demand?
So like over your time, you know, like you've had this like, I mean, it's a really impressive career. How do you think that you have developed as like a person and as like a, you know, professional?
Man, I think I've developed in a good way.
Like I'm the same.
Yeah, like I'm the same, but I know what not to do and what I bring, what to bring and not to do, what to, you know what I mean, at gigs and what it calls for. You know, it's pretty simple, you know. You know.
Is there anything that you do to like maintain your professional relationships to like make sure you're like supporting them and embracing them? Like, are there like networking events that you go to? Like, no.
It's funny, since COVID started, I just stayed in the house a lot, and
Yeah.
I ended up getting studio gear. I made a flyer. It said, "Hey, I'm available to record. Send me whatever." I put it up on Instagram, and it took off. It was like, it gave me a chance to do something different. But it's like I don't really have to network because a lot of people really do know me. But I'll be surprised if some people I'm like, you know me. Dave Matthews, drummer, Carter Buford. I remember meeting him for the first time. I was like, "Yeah, man, my name is Aaron Draper." He was like, "Oh, you're Aaron Draper." And my face was like, "You know who I am?" But you never know who's watching also at the same time. You know what I mean? That's what I tell people. You never know who's watching. So
yeah, it's crazy.
It goes back to that.
And I think one of the benefits now is like creating a digital footprint, is a really good way to kind of like maintain your,
it's a great point.
Influence, I guess, or connections. People know what you're up to and what you're doing. I mean, I think generally.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Is that what you've evolved? Like since you've been, you're kind of remote working, like the way a lot of like us normal folk are, right?
Yeah. What have you been home for like almost a year and a half? It's different.
Yeah. Well, what have you been doing to kind of spread that? Because like usually you're playing gigs, right? So how are you like taking advantage of it from home? Are you just filming yourself, like playing music? You're just releasing music?
When they need me to film, yeah, me playing. And most of the time it's been a lot of records and whatever they ask me to do. I said I do it. Send me my money. Business is done. You know what I mean? It's business at the end of the day. You know what I mean? What was I about to say? I was about to say something.
Something about working remotely.
Yeah.
Normal.
It's been fun. It's gave me time to reset and get endeavor in new adventures. You know what I mean? I've always wanted to buy property, so I got my second property that I bought while I was off.
So now you're a real estate investor.
just trying to, because just trying to set up for later. When they tell you, you're getting older, you want to set up for later time. I want to be able to just do whatever I want to do eventually. I mean, of course, still playing music, but you want to get to that point where I just want to do whatever I want and invest in the right things and make sure it's lucrative.
That's interesting.
For me, and whatever I got going on.
Do you have any plans beyond just purchasing that house? You have like plans to stand something up, like to teach music, to grow an environment where you're harnessing other people's skills, anything like that?
I would definitely be into like a mentoring kind of role later on eventually. Like first when I had time. Like in the last 4 or 5 years, I really didn't have too much time. So that was a whole thing. But now it's about giving back because I guess I'm like one of the senior musicians now. I was the young one for a long time, but now
it's crazy.
I'm the older guy. So now I want to be an example and to help whoever needs to be helped. Like I'm always open to talk to people, and answer questions, of what I learned, what I know,
Yeah.
Because somebody did that for me, you know what I mean? They never gave it to me, but it gave me the keys and the help, you know what I mean? So.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you remember how you and I met? I remember, the only thing I remember is when I was doing some work with Shady and I sent you an email about t-shirts because like you were working with Eminem at the time.
Oh,
do you remember that?
That was a long, was that like 2009?
That was, but I feel like we met before that though. Yeah, it was a long time ago. That was like 12 or 13 years ago.
Because we definitely, I feel like that might have been around the time we did the Voodoo Festival. Oh, years ago.
The Voodoo, I don't remember that.
We did the Voodoo Festival 2009. That was our first gig on them, yeah. And it turned out amazing. They had us dressed up with skeletons. That was the first time I wore a Halloween costume in decades of my life.
That's funny.
So.
Yeah, there was something I was going to ask, and I just totally lost my track of thought after you started talking about dressing up like a skeleton.
I got a visualization of that. Yeah.
all I'm thinking about right now is actually like the weird drumming performances I've seen. Like, I went to see Motley Crue, and Yeah, and like oh my god, his name with the drummer.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee.
Tommy Lee.
He was they put him on a roller coaster and he was
Yeah, he
drumming
goes
upside down.
around.
I was like, what is happening here?
It's all entertainment purposes for the people.
I mean, it was amazing.
Have you ever done anything crazy like that? They make you ever do anything like that?
I don't think they could, not with my drums. My drums would probably fall all over the place anyway.
Can you imagine Aaron just getting put on top of a roller coaster? I think
would try it, but I don't
special
know.
breed of person.
That would be so weird. And they would really have to, like, you have to really strap in all my drums. All my drums are individual as opposed to like a drum set. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, it was on a rack too. So that's what, yeah, I don't know if I would try anything. I'm like, if you want me to do it, okay. I'm always like that. That's another thing I am with artists. Like, well, I can try this. You like this? All right, then we'll do this. Sorry, I'm trying to find a plug.
No, you're good. No, you're good. It's I like what you're saying there. It's like almost like you're fearless. Something I've been talking to my sister about. Like, I always say, like, act with courage, and the universe will take care of the rest.
Absolutely.
You
can't be scared. You gotta do what you gotta do. Just attack it and don't be afraid. Sorry.
No.
Yariv is slightly my motivational coach. No, I'm not kidding.
Hey, it's good to have somebody. That's another thing to have good. Over the career,
and that's my brother.
My same friends that has motivated me over the years. Adam Blackstone, Darryl Robinson, Wayne Moore, John Lawson. We hold each other accountable, and we're still all good friends. So, and we all do stuff together all the time. Especially me, Adam. We always, always working together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I did some work with Adam a while back too. And I don't remember how we got this, but like we did some like event in Philly around Made in America. I got in trouble for it too because I was working for Live Nation at the time. I almost lost my job and I almost got my boss fired too. That was an interesting experience. When my boss called me and he's like, "You almost got me fired for working on this side project," and that was with Blackstone.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, listen, there's always going to be good stories, right? So one thing I want to ask about is like, so in the Philly, like, Philly music scene is like, not to sound weird, but like there's a big like root of like Philly musicians that touring Philly musicians. And it does seem to me like they all kind of like are bucketed. They go together to all these different things. And I'm wondering, is this like strategic on their part? Like when you get a gig, are they like, hey, like, Aaron, do you have somebody for this thing? Or like, how does that end up happening? That it just like, like,
I mean, I've been asked by like, of course, like when we did Dallas, like, anybody, you doing that background singing, you suggest your friends, it's up to them to maintain and do what they got to do at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Have you ever turned anything down that you regret?
Yeah, Jay-Z Unplugged. I mean, Jay-Z tour. I was in the middle of a Jill Scott tour and rehearsals, and my brother called me. And I mean, I'm just a faithful guy to any gig I'm on. Like I'm on it, I'm in it. And at the time, that Jill was like everything I was doing, but I didn't know. I didn't have nobody to put on in my place at the time. So that was Jill missing that Jay-Z era. When he had, he still do a lot of band, but yeah, I turned it down because I didn't know, I didn't have nobody to replace me, and I was like, man, I'm in the middle of this touring, So
that's respect, though.
But I think that's a good thing because it shows like I'm faithful. Yep. You know what I mean? I'm not just going to jump at anything. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's benefited me in the end.
100%.
Because of that, you know what I mean?
That speaks volumes, and it means a lot to people when you. I mean, it's like, listen, the reality is the music industry is a really small industry. Yeah, it doesn't take much to screw up your reputation.
Not at all. Yeah.
Is there anyone in the industry that you haven't worked with that you would really love to?
Oh yeah, I would love to work with like Sting, Janet Jackson, you know, that'd have been great. Sade is a person I would love to work with, or go on tour with.
Well, you can make those things happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I almost actually was about to do some Janet stuff before the pandemic started. So,
What, with Active or something?
no, with the band, like play for Janet. Yeah, well, activist,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah. But you know, it'd have been nice. So.
I mean, I believe it'll happen. Put it out in the universe.
If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it's still been a great career, you know.
What is like the factor that makes you like want to, you know, perform with? I mean, to like perform with these people.
It's just like it's like a bucket list, you know. I love Sting, the Police, and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, Sade, who doesn't want to play? Yeah, must have been an angel for my side. Like, you know. You know, I got to do a tribute for Anita Baker. I love Anita Baker on the BT Awards a couple years ago. It was an amazing tribute. Marsha Ambrosia, Lettucey, and Yolanda Adams, and Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx he started it off, but it turned out so good. You know, you just if you watch it, the performance, you'll see her on there just, you know, dancing and like, you know, she wanted to be up there with us. You know what I mean? She even cried, like, you know.
Oh, wow.
So I felt good because it felt like we honored her in a way.
That's so awesome.
To, you know, just to feel how we felt about her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow. Dude, I got
turned
the
out, like, if you get a chance, like really, if you get a chance, check out this tribute. It's the BT Anita Baker tribute, and it was really, really good. And that comes from like knowing her music. Like even just playing that music, I know them parts in those songs because you hear them. It's like they stick out. Them percussion parts. So I, you know, once again, I was just trying to have the same love for the music and the respect of how that music was in the, you know, in the time of it. So,
oh man, that's so cool. We outside of the names that you named, who else kind of influenced your playing style?
Oh man, so many names. Let's see, John Roberts. I'm sorry, Brian Moore, John Roberts are the two. When I was, I mean, I'm still a drummer, but when I was like wanting to play drums, they influenced me. I always could play a little percussion, so it was always like Pancho Sanchez, Giovanni, Shirley E, Bill Puente, you know, those kind of guys. And then, you know, I always loved listening to like Weather Report and Jocko and Yellow Jackets and, you know, of course, gospel music because I was a gospel musician. I started out in church. I was always play gospel, but also had my hip hop side, which is like my aunts and all of them, my uncles. I've been listening to all that stuff. So you know, I got to grow up around a good balance and mix of everything. You know,
I want to dig into that gospel thing that you mentioned. I was going to bring that up actually because I saw a little bit that you started off in church. Essentially, I mean, I don't know if you started in church, but that was maybe
I did
performance.
Yes, I did, and I still play church.
How do you look back at that time? Do you think that you were kind of meant to do this when you think about that?
At that time, I mean, all we knew was church. I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know. And you know, back in church, it's like you can't play secular music, you can't do this. And so, but as the church evolved, I feel like it got a little lenient. And then, you know, just growing up around certain musicians that went to the other side and started playing everything, it just changed my life. And I was like, well, I ain't in trouble. I can do this. Okay, cool. It's like a job. I always say it's like a secular job. It's secular, and you know, it's everybody's not saved, you know, believing what you believe in at your job. So, you know, it's just another, you know, to me, it's just another, not another job, but it's just I'm just not in the church basically, but I'm still doing what I love because, you know, I love playing music and I'm representing, you know, being a light.
Yeah.
And being an example. So, you know.
First opportunity is like your first job, like you said, right?
Exactly.
First gig.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
I have a question, but I feel like the answer is probably going to be very long-winded. So,
no pressure.
Well, I'm just thinking, I'm like, because Aaron has done so much stuff. Like he has done a lot.
My career started at 18. I'll be 40 next year. I'm 39 this year.
That's wild.
So
that's awesome.
That's crazy. So when you like kind of, reflect on your career very lightly, just like this high level overview, glancing at it, are there like things that pop up where you're like, this one thing that I did, big or small, right, kind of changed your life or your direction, or something happened? And it might not necessarily be a gig. It could be a phone call or like something that someone taught you.
Well, for me was like doing like my first gig. One of my mentors and big brothers, Brian Moore, we're going to get together, and I'm like, by then I'm like, ooh, I know what I'm doing now, boom, boom. But he ended up still teaching me a lesson. It was because I was playing for, we were about to go to Europe with Victor Duplay, who was also a Philly artist legend, and I had to do a solo on an electronic pad. And my solo stopped. And my bro was like, he was like, listen, man, go back, go back and try this again. Take your time, figure out something that's going to, be dope for people to understand and, whatever, get off. And I went back to the drawing board, came back and nailed it the next day. So, that was like, that was something for me because I thought I had arrived, but I still learned the lesson from from them, even in my profession, even at the level of professionalism that I thought I was at. You're supposed to always learn. You're supposed to be always open to learning anyway, because you learn every day. So, so that, and just even some of the words he taught me, just some of the stuff he taught me about, like picking a pattern and sticking to it. In that song, like taking whatever from that song and you putting it here, you play that pattern. Or even if it ain't a pattern, even if it's nothing there, making it seem like it was there. That's one thing I've been honored to hear a lot too. Like, man, it's not sounding the song. Man, it sounds like it's supposed to be. You're doing something right, So,
can you elaborate a little bit on that picking a pattern?
Picking a pattern like let's say it's a conga pattern that's in the song that that is in the song. I'm gonna play it because it's in the song. You know what I mean? A lot of people may play something. I mean, I've heard stuff that didn't belong to the song. Like, that's not part of the song. But I'm such a like listen to patterns and learn songs that stuff like it bothers me. I'm like, that's not in the song, and so it'll bother me. But I'm a stickler of learning the music and unless it's something else different that the artists want, I'm going to play the music. It comes out. 9 times out of 10 it works because it's like they love it. Like, okay, yeah, this feels good. I always want that feeling of that feeling of man, this was my song, whatever year it was. We're gonna feel like we back there, because I played it with that intent,
Yeah, and it goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? Like, you're honoring the music. You're like, by sticking to the pattern, you're like, I'm not coming here to like show up the scene. I'm here to like add to the music. I'm here to serve the music, right?
Trying to get that feeling of whatever that song is, whether it be like I said, Anita Baker, Sweet Love. It's a conga pattern that goes you can't do nothing extra on that stuff. It's like I want to hear that in the song, if you know Sweet Love. So, and then it's a bongos in oh God, Angel? No, it wasn't Angel. What song did we do? Oh, Sweet Love. Yeah, Sweet Love. It's bongos in that song. Wait. Oh God. Because I'm mixing them up. Because caught up in the Rapture Love is congas, and then Sweet Love is bongos. If I'm correct, I might be. I think I'm correct.
Nobody's grading you. You're good.
Nobody's grading me. But, just go listen to the
song. No, but I like that. And sorry, Colleen, but I like that please. Because I mean, I was a musician, honestly. I stopped at 19. The last show I played was at TLA. I used to be a lead singer.
Oh, dope.
But yeah, but like one of the things that you notice with like musicians, a lot of my friends, musicians too, everybody wants to be famous, right? Everybody wants to show up. Everybody wants to have their solo, their music. And it sounds like your attitude was so different than like trying to be the star. And that's kind of what people allowed you to, you know what I mean? Not even allowed you. It's like, it's what made you a better teammate. right? It's like music and art is so much about love and cohesion. And I feel like you got that so early, and I think that's really what benefits.
Yeah, I mean, of course, giving props to my bro Omar Edwards, who was teaching us that at the church I used to play at Fort Memorial. You know, as a band and unit, it was always, listen, let's play like one and give 110%, and it always turned out amazing. Like people, it was just a everybody played their part. So when you all sound like this, it comes off even more, as opposed to everybody playing individual and playing what they want to do. You know what I mean? It sounds so much better when we're unified,
Absolutely. And I cover, she was telling you, I cover sports. I cover the Flyers as well. And that's the one thing I tell people about sports is like, yeah, you might want the most talented team and think you have to go get the most expensive players, but it's really the teams that play together.
Together.
That they
perfect example. Yesterday, Sixers played so great yesterday together.
Exactly.
Our defense shut everything. We shut it down, as a team, let's not. No, we're not gonna go sports because I just do. Like people.
No,
mad
I love that collectiveness.
People mad at Ben, but like Ben did his job yesterday. He shut Troy Young down. I mean, Trey Young down. Excuse me, I said Troy. Trey Young down. Like, what I mean? He had points, but it was like he put a team. As a team, you got to play your role as a part. You play whatever part you're supposed to play. That's your role, and you stick to that role. And that's what makes the team. That's what makes the team stronger, because
it's amazing.
When it comes to your time, you on your part. You on what you're supposed to be doing. There's no lack. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there is no I in team. So.
Well said.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know. I mean, I really love the idea of like a collective and tribes and people who work together and like how everyone feeds a tribe. I started a women's networking group. I think you know that, right? Where I used to run this women's group. I don't really do it anymore, but the whole idea was like, how can we work together to take over the world? We all kind of break out, take over our own little pockets, and then come back and strategize all together how to win.
Yeah.
So do you have other questions? Because I have like a kind of a wrap up question or.
No, I mean, I thought that was a beautiful thing. Like, I know you're like a little worried to talk about sports, but the idea here wasn't just to like, we want to talk about
sports. Me?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, going a little off topic. Not
I
you.
don't care. Sports
not
is
you.
definitely, it's a great analogy for.
Well, that's kind of what I wanted to say is that like, that's the one thing I try. I have another podcast as well. I call Always Level Up, and I recognize patterns within people's behavior. Right. And it's like sports, playing music, like working in an office, a lot of these things, the patterns exist the same way because you're dealing with humans, right? So like if you are working together, and that's the one thing I think Clean asked a great question. Like, what would you tell other people? It's like, I tell you, my band broke up because we just couldn't work together. I mean, they're even my best friends, but you start having problems and then all of a sudden there's always drama.
Egos is this, everybody's opinion. And
yes.
whereas, it's easier when okay, you take that opinion. Opinion is just an opinion. It doesn't mean that it's a solid, it's a factual statement. It's just your opinion of whatever. But then that's when feelings come in, because if your opinion sounds wrong, now it's like you hurt this person, or you talking about, like it's it goes all down. It all goes downhill from Yeah. It goes down a rabbit hole.
Do you think your attitude, and that's kind of what I would take, is maybe your attitude is what's not obviously your skill level, but your attitude.
Absolutely, man. That. Absolutely, man. Like I have love for everybody. A lot of people are surprised when me. They're like, I didn't know you were this cool.
Aaron is very cool.
I know dirt. You know what I mean?
There's definitely a reason why I reached out to Aaron as number one guest.
Like I'm not you can't be. You never know who you're going to meet, too, or who you're dealing with, and you never know what anybody's going through. So I'm never. I mean, of course, you got to be careful. You can't just whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm not untouchable. It's people who get arrogant, untouchable, and just different. It's just like, you weird. That could mess up, whole person's aura, whatever off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can turn them away, like, I don't like.
Well, at a certain point, like especially at the level that you're at, everybody's talented. You know what I mean? So if you don't have that good attitude,
that's true.
You know what I mean?
Very, very true.
You're going to be left out of that circle, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Only the good attitude people stick around at that
Absolutely.
level.
I mean, you got the bad ones too, but
oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know,
no names.
Certain people that's arrogant, certain people that's not. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I guess that's
you just govern yourself accordingly, basically. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Yariv, have any more questions? If you want to.
No, I mean, I'm good. I mean, I could talk all day. So for me, it's like I can always keep going.
I'm still trying to figure out where Aaron and I first met. I was hoping that Aaron knew, but I don't remember.
It was definitely Eminem, but and I remember the email because like you said, it was closing, and then
did I say I was like, you're from Philly? I'm from Philly.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a whole. Right. It was definitely like a whole connecting. Like, oh shoot, you know.
I was sending you T-shirts. I remember that. I had to get your T-shirt size because we were getting stuff from American Apparel for the show. It was like basic white tees, like or something like that. And then, but Eminem only wanted American Apparel T-shirts.
If you got the money, I'll buy it.
I was gonna say. Yeah.
That's what you want. Cool, I got you.
That was a really hard project. We had to like go and figure out how to like get these specialized ordered T-shirts. I don't remember, but I remember it being challenging. Way too hard than it should be.
My nephew gets sleep. Sorry, on the sidebar.
Oh,
right. Yeah, he fell asleep. Stay quiet.
He's like, this conversation is boring.
Yeah. He does not. He's chilling.
He seems cute.
That's really funny. All right, so just to close it out. So, you know, like I said, that this is like very much about like, you know, connections and friendships and networks and like, you know, how those relationships kind of like get you to like the point of your career. But that said, any kind of your professional advice that you would give to, I want to say like a young musician, but it really probably could apply to pretty much anyone, you know.
I mean, good advice is just, you know your music, be about your business, be approachable and workable with, you know, people who want to be able to work with you, like, you know, really that's it. Manage your money right. I wish I'd have went back to some of them tours back then. I'd save a lot of that money, but you know, save your money. You know, invest in yourself. When they tell you, you know, set up for a rainy day, it's really real. You know, I was just 18. Now I'm 39. It's like, you know, it happens so quick. You know, you live the life, you on the road, and you know, you don't realize how much, you know, you're getting older, and you know, this time's coming up. You know what I mean? So invest your money and, you know, invest in yourself. You know,
I like that.
That's what I can say.
Yeah, invest in yourself.
And
it's a good advice.
Yeah, and hopefully you can find love too. You know, because they could be a lonely road as a top musician. You know.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it.
I was actually thinking, I was like, I must know somebody that I can match you up with. Like, I know so many amazing people. I like a lot of women.
Maybe you save that for off camera. Just say that for off camera.
Hey, I want to throw any names out.
We should definitely put it here, because if any of my girlfriends are watching and they're interested, you know, let me know, and then I will hook you up.
Well, I'm single. Single.
That's funny. Aaron, I think you're amazing. I think that you are an awesome person. Like, ever since we like first connected, like you always have just like such an awesome energy, which is I think why I rock out with you so much. Like, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great to meet you, bro.
Yeah, you know, absolutely.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
So, hey, whenever y'all, just let me know.
All right.
All right, and we have to catch up soon. Let's hang out.
Absolutely.
Come
I'm here to the 20 something. I figure when we're leaving to. Oh God.
Where are you going next?
I'm doing the BT Awards.
Okay.
I can't say the other thing I'm doing yet because it's got to be quiet, but something in the works, and it's big.
Ooh, that's gonna be a fun one.
I'll tell you. I'll text you later.
All right, cool. All right, well, let me know. I mean, if you want to come hang out, let's go
Absolutely.
wander around Rittenhouse and go get drinks at some fancy bar.
Sounds good to me, for sure.
All right
Now.
All right.
You all.
bye.
Thank you.
Peace.